Today, I'll be talking about compound movements and why they're so great. There's a lot of stuff going on in the background when we move. Hundreds of contractions control direction, speed, force, etc. Obviously, no one actually thinks about that when they catch a ball or jump. We bypass that background function by focusing on the task we want to complete, effectively giving us a shortcut to not waste time thinking about what, when, and how hard to contract each individual muscle. Try walking or even lifting your arm right now just by contracting specific muscles. It's nearly impossible to do. This innate biological shortcut is the basis of why compound movements are really important aspects of physical training for overall strength, balance, and mental health. Compound movements are exercises where you engage more than one muscle group at a time. To give an example, a squat is a compound movement because it uses the core, quads, glutes, hamstrings, calves, and hip flexors, among other muscles. This is different than an isolation exercise like a bicep curl that exclusively focuses on one muscle, like the bicep. Unlike isolation exercises, the overarching goal of compound movements is not to work on one singular muscle, but to complete a task like get this weight above your head or touch your toes to the bar. This uses the same task-based motive of movement itself that I mentioned earlier. Because compound movements focus on a simple objective over the specific contraction of one muscle, they simulate a more natural and intuitive movement pattern by replicating real-life tasks. Humans have evolved to use their bodies for reasons like picking things up or hunting, not to selectively target muscle growth to look more toned. This is what the functional fitness trend is rooted in. Using multiple muscle groups for a task-oriented outcome trains the body as a cohesive unit, causing the muscles to work in harmony as they're designed to do. This builds more practical strength and day-to-day resilience, but also expends more energy and increases heart rate. This makes compound movements a really effective option for people striving for well-rounded strength, longevity, and improved mental health. Compound movements also work to use small connecting muscles that typically aren't isolated. We have over 600 muscles, but training isolation style only focuses on just a few of the big ones exclusively. Compound lifts engage far more groups and fibers, leading to a more whole and taxing physical stimulus. This is really important to avoid imbalances and to become stable, but also from a muscle mass perspective alone. Those small supporting muscles are small. Increasing their mass and function has a compound effect since there's just so many of them that are so easy to overlook. A key with compound movements is prioritizing free weights over machines in the gym. This forces your body to constantly readjust and settle unbalanced forces, effectively including those tiny hidden muscle groups in the exercise. For example, just think of everything that goes into a powerful kettlebell swing. There's so many different muscles being recruited for a movement like this, and that kind of teaches the body to engage fully to complete a task. All this being said, there are several circumstances where isolation exercise make a lot more sense than compound movements. For example, to rehabilitate or to build a connection with specific muscles, targeting muscles individually can provide a lot more value. The vast spread of distribution of load that compound exercises give mean that they are poor at getting very specific. However, I think that splitting of the body into separate categories and hitting each muscle individually as a baseline regimen just has way too many drawbacks. For gym goers that want strength without necessarily being bodybuilders, compound lifts should be the meat and potatoes of their program. They do require some upfront cost of learning proper technique, but once that's done, they're the most practical form of training to maximize practical muscle, remain physically balanced, and reap the mental health benefits of building and having more muscle.